Peggy Martin, Katrina Rose. It's time to talk about this beauty because she deserves a place in every garden. This, just for your reference, this rose is, I introduced it in my garden 3 years ago. It came to me maybe half a year old baby plant. By the way, thank you, Tammy. And look at all the growth it did in just 3 years. And I suspect that this is not the end of it. You see all this new, fresh, strong growth, which Katrina produced this year. I suspect this is the true nature of this rose. And without trimming, this thing can swallow the gardener and conquer probably half of the house. Although on paper it says that this rose, the height of this rose is 10-15 feet high. I suspect that in warmer climates it can go higher and wider. In cooler climates maybe it will be more restrained. But this is a very hardy rose. It is good to zone 4. The coldest zone 4 all the way to zone 9. Tolerates heat and humidity very well. I'm asking this rose to grow here in this back porch corner. Originally we had this wall all white here. I really didn't like it because we are having dinners here. Our back table is here, our garden table. And I was tired of looking at this wall all the time, so I custom built the support for my rose, planted it, was teeny tiny baby, and in 3 years this is what's happening here. Totally beautiful, I say. And this is going into our dinner tables here, all this grows this way. So how I train this rose, everything which is going out and I cannot train it back into the arch, I just trim off. So these are unfortunately very strong candidates to be trimmed off unless I can direct them somehow and make it as narrow as possible. At the back of this arch support, I also trim everything because I don't want any congestion there touching the house. Our house has shingles or wooden shingles, and I don't want any plants growing against the wood there. I get it. Subscribing feels like commitment, but look at this guy. He feels that he can stick around without doing a good job of a wonderful garden plant. Be like basil. Subscribe. So let's talk about main advantages of this rose. Exceptional hardiness. This rose survived 20 feet under the saltwater flooding in Hurricane Katrina, and it lived. It has a very big historical importance. It has a good history about it. So it is used in a lot of memorials to remember, right? It's a symbol of hope. Because this rose is so hardy, I decided to ask this rose to grow here. And this is no ideal location for the rose. Roses love sun. And here, especially right here at the bottom, we don't have a lot of sun because sun is going this way through my garden. And in the afternoon, right now is 4 o'clock, this rose doesn't have any sun. The sun is at the front of my house, and only a generous gardener gets part of it, gets the sun. So not ideal location, and very often this table is flush towards at the bottom of the rose, so air circulation is also not the greatest. We had very rainy season this year, and Katrina Rose is starting to experience black spot here a little bit. But any other rose in this condition will not make it. It will not thrive, and Katrina looks like it's thriving. So, exceptional hardiness. Disease resistance is legendary. The foliage is medium green, very happy foliage. I do like roses with happy, nice foliage. And if rose has medium green or light green, it's like a celebration rose. So this rose is that way. Nice, full green foliage. The stems, when they mature, they build up the bloom buds. And you see how it blossoms in clusters. The flowers, when you look at each individual flower, it's not really beautiful in its own form, but this rose takes it by the sheer volume of its blooms. Look at all the clusters. Flowers are semi-full, small, maybe 1.5 inch wide, and it blooms in clusters. And when these stems mature, they create more and more buds. So next year I suspect that we will have even more of these cluster flowers here. You can see here, that is the youngest stem, and you see it didn't create a lot of blooms. That is the older one, so more blooms this year. I suspect the blooming power of Katrina next year would be even stronger. Literally, there would be a wall of blooms happily facing this way. Another advantage is low maintenance of this rose. No prickles, literally, very small amounts, and it's easy to handle. So stems are fairly soft, not as hard as in other climbing roses. It's a climbing rose. It is not one of those roses like Generous Garden at the back here, flowering with big, beautiful flowers. But again, there is a beauty in all this small presence of so many little blooms, right? If you want something to conquer the area very quickly, this is a rose to plant. 3 years, look at all the growth it did, and I'm suspecting that it's not going to stop here. So my next action, I guess, the future action with this rose would be to train it maybe that way. And this wall here is not really sunny, it's always shady there. But I'm hoping that because Katrina will have majority of its growth exposed to the sun in the morning, it will support the growth in the shade as well. But we will see, and I will see what Katrina is going to do next year. Maybe all its growth will be like this, strong and vigorous. Okay, so these are advantages of this beauty. Now let's talk about disadvantages. Well, if you take something too far, it becomes a disadvantage. You cannot plant this in a small space and not take care after it. Yes, it is easy to take care after this rose. Yes, you do not need to spray it, but if you don't do anything about this rose, particularly you are not staying on top of pruning maintenance, this rose will eat you up, gardener. You know, it will conquer the space quickly and will become a monster, unruly monster. So you have to make sure you know what you're doing. Train it well, prune everything which is growing in the wrong direction, and there is no mercy, unfortunately, here. Anything which is going towards the house, I just have to trim. And right now there are a lot of blooms. I'm going to go in and take them off, put them in the vase. There is no other way about it. And this is also under the question. So vigorous growth is one disadvantage. Or you can say invasive growth, but I don't really think it's invasive growth. Invasive sounds sinister. How can you say something like that about this beauty? No, it's just unruly. Unruly growth. It will overtake structure in no time. So you need to have a strong structure here. I combine treated wood with decorative wood elements. Let's see how long it will last, but treated wood should last a good 10 years, I would say. Okay, lack of strong fragrance. Yes, there is no much fragrance, so for rose fragrance lovers, this might be the disadvantage. It will add the beauty to the dinner table here, of course, to have a glass of wine and smell beautiful rose. But life is not ideal. You can't get everything in life, so the same with this rose. There is no scent to it. What did I plant my Katrina rose with? Which plants? Well, at the bottom, where I took the bricks out and I had to install this rose support, those spaces were kind of bare, so I introduced ajuga there. Ajuga loves shade. When I water this rose, I give some good water to ajuga, and looks like it's thriving there. There's no place to conquer. Ajuga is very fast to spread, so I give it a trim from once in a while, and those gorgeous blue blooms here in this shady corner are excellent in spring. So all the unsightly spots are well covered. On this side, the darker foliage of Generous Garden, it creates a nice play of color, right? In between, I have some brighter spots. On that side I just planted recently the new window pot, and it is a sweet potato vine growing there. And on another side we have begonias, which are not clashing with the pink color, because begonia has pink salmon, I would say salmon color, still not clashing with this rose. And I think I made a good choice by planting begonias here and not right close to Katrina Rose on that wall. So this is Katrina Rose, a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. I love it in my garden, and I'm thinking that many years it is going to give us gifts of blooms. My dear gardeners, a worthy rose to grow. We will see you in our next video. Please do subscribe to see how this rose will be doing in next years in my garden. Happy gardening!